My name's Jill, and as you can see, I'm really excited about some lots to say. I haven't done a PowerPoint for this because I don't really feel that it necessarily suits what I want to talk about. I'm a PhD student over at Sheffield University, and I've just started teaching here on some of the autism courses for the Autism Centre. I'm in my second year now, and I work in the area of critical autism and disability studies. It's technically within the School of Education, but I don't actually do anything to do with schools, classrooms, teachers, education in general. It just is where I fall because of my work that I do and the position I kind of come from. What I'm interested in is the lives of autistic children and how they're lived. And it's an area of research that perhaps doesn't fit traditional ways of doing research with autistic children, because it's nothing to do with science, it's nothing to do with brains, it's nothing to do with health. It's about lives that are lived in a way that is not considered not normal. And what I kind of want to look at is why we have this obsession with being normal and why being autistic is so not normal. I think the obsession with normality is something that can be really interesting for us to perhaps look at. And I think from that there is things to look at in terms of why we need normal to exist and why we need abnormal things like autism to exist. Perhaps some of that is to do with capitalist economic ideas, I would suggest, and the fact that we need an abnormal to exist so that we can push people towards being normal, and that currently how autism is looked at is what can we do to make this child as normal as possible so we can push them in that direction of being economically valuable in the future by being able to work, by being able to contribute to society. And we don't want these non-normal people because they can't contribute to our economic growth. And that's something I'm quite interested in looking at. And my work comes from work with narratives and storytelling. So part of what I think we'd like to look at together is the types of stories that are told about children, and the types of stories we as adults tell about children's lives. And my research is working with families to look at real lives of that happen to be autistic, not to get hung up in some kind of obsession with autism where we're talking about something miraculous happening and a child being cured from autism, or let's get really focused on these autistic behaviours and make them sound really fascinating and interesting and like Rain Man or something. Not talking about those types of Hollywood stories. We're talking about really boring, really everyday stories of what it's like to be autistic and get up and go to school, what it's like when you're autistic and you're just in a really foul mood, and all those things that we would talk about in normal childhood, but we're a little bit scared of talking about in terms of an abnormal childhood, like an autistic one, because we should be concentrating on the autism and not concentrating on the child. So I'm looking at boring stories, I'm looking at mundane stories, I'm looking at normal stories that are told about not normal children, basically. So what I think will be really interesting for us to look at is those divides between what is normal and what's not normal, and why we get so hung up on it in the first place. So, whistle-stop tour of my entire career, but I hope that kind of gives you an idea where I'm coming from. It might be a bit more conceptual than some of the other very more practically orientated experts that are coming up, but